What do you do when my man is not feeling like he's not a priority? But I also don't want my friends to feel like they're not important as well. The group chat ain't going no more. Did they kick me out? Am I no longer a part of the team? What role did I play into why things shifted the way that they did? I got to start making some changes. Even if that conversation is going to be to the point of uncomfortability where we realize that we're just maybe better as associates. You never know until you actually open your mouth and have the conversation. Let's stop assuming some things and let's just hash it out. Let's talk it all out. At the end of the day, I will put it into prayer. And then from there, God has it. And what's meant to be will be. But there's also times where God will give you confirmation. And God's confirmation overrides anything and everything that anyone could say.
I could play it cool, but I be like, treat you like a sidekick. I'ma tell you something you gon' like it.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Beaut Tea Told, your relationship podcast, where me and my special guests, we take those relationship topics, challenges, and struggles. We deep dive into that thing with the overall goal of positive changes and healthier relationships for all. So, welcome. And yes, as you guys may notice, this is just me today. And not only is it just me, but this is my first solo episode at the new studio at Ruthie's List. So shout out to Ruthie's List that opens up her space, her home, away from home for us. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying the episodes as much as I have. So y'all in for a treat because this episode I pondered on whether I wanted to do this or not because I have never ever done this episode before. I have never talked about this topic. In fact, this has been a real, I don't want to say sensitive topic, but this has been one where I wasn't too sure I wanted to be that open and honest about this. But my relationship podcast, I should say, is all about us having those changes and being transparent and taking accountability. So I myself had to look myself in the mirror and realize I done kind of messed up. Okay. I done had some little mishaps that I'm gonna take accountability for today. So without further ado, the episode is why friendships change after you find love. So why is that? First off, let me start by saying not all of them will change, but it does seem as though I've come across where I have lost a few friendships along the way with finding love. And partially my fault though, y'all. So I want y'all to be able to learn and grow because I know I'm not alone. So I mean, y'all tell me, have you experienced where once you find your boo thing, your man, do you sometimes get so caught up with him that you sometimes abandon your girls? Do you sometimes abandon your guys for my gents out there? So we all have, I feel like, been guilty of this. But I want to also say that friendships are important and the right ones will stick no matter what the season, the circumstance. So, what I'm meaning by this, y'all, and oh, let me not forget, Faith Journal. And what's the tea coming your way? So don't forget that's coming. But y'all, so I met my man a year and a half ago. Y'all already know how this goes. I ain't gonna, bore you with the specifics. And for those who are new, make sure y'all subscribe, okay? But when it came to like really getting to know him, really, realizing like, wow, I'm really vibing with, I'm really liking him. Of course you're gonna tell your girls. Of course you're gonna be able to say, like, oh my gosh, I'm really feeling him, like he's different, it's something about him. And they're all like, oh yes, girl, that's what's up. Da 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 da. They're gonna hype it up. But what I started to realize is that I started to change because now we used to, every my girls, we would hang out every once in a while. Let's go have drinks. Let's go, partake in a happy hour. Let's go to a concert. Let's go do something. And the more I started getting more involved with him, the more I realized that I was becoming more distant with them. And for those of you like that have had been guilty of this as well, this is something where we do have to take accountability and realize like there has to be a way to balance the two. So for me, y'all, I'm struggling. Okay. I am struggling with trying to figure out how to balance my friendships and my relationship because I don't want one to feel, you know, differently about the other. I don't want it to be that my man is not feeling like he's not a priority. But I also don't want my friends to feel like they're not important as well. So, what do you do in this situation? What do you do when you're feeling conflicted? And for me, y'all, I'm gonna be honest, I'm still trying to figure this out because I have noticed that my girlfriends, the group chat ain't going no more. Did they kick me out? Am I no longer a part of the team? I'm realizing that when I'm checking Instagram stories, I'm seeing that they're kicking it. I don't remember getting an invite. So I'm seeing that they even out of town. They're out of town. And now I remember getting that email, like, the flight information, none of that. So what I started to realize when I started to see that there was some changes that were happening is that I had to not get upset. I couldn't get upset. I couldn't be mad at the fact, but it made me really question what role did I play into why things shifted the way that they did. And to be honest with you guys, that was when I realized that I got to start making some changes. Now, I do have, of course, I mean, I ain't lost all my friends, y'all. Let me be real. I ain't lost all of them. But there was some like really near and dear friends that I've noticed that we no longer, we could still see each other because there was a time where we came together for a girlfriend's birthday. We still hang out, we still cool, but I also I could tell there was a chill between us. There was definitely a difference. And it's uncomfortable, and I do feel as though one of the ways that we can probably, be able to savor it, save this relationship is that a conversation is needed to be had. So I feel like instead of us getting our feelings, which at one point I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to do, but then I had to realize, well, it's not all on them. There's a role that I played that we gotta squash this because we've come too far. We've been through the mud with this, okay? So whether it was heartbreaks that they experienced, heartbreaks I experienced, because these were girlfriends that were there when I was going through the ending of my marriage that really helped me to get myself together. So there's some friendships that are worth saving. Now, there are also some that ain't worth saving because let's keep in mind, sometimes as you're growing in life, you start to really mature and elevate in ways that some people just can't come along on the ride with you. So I don't know if you guys realize, but for those of you who are in my age group of the 30s club, when elementary was around, you had a whole slew of friends. Middle school, you had a nice little crowd. High school, you might have noticed it was maybe a little bit smaller because you really were starting to be more selective of who you hung out with. Because some people was more of your popular crowd, some may not have been, or maybe some in between. Then you start to get older and realize that your circle becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Because now you start to realize that there's certain people that you can trust, certain people you can't. There's certain growths that you guys have gone through. Like maybe there's ways where y'all have parted ways because of that. So we have to be real about the fact that there are just some changes that inevitably are going to happen. But for the ones that are really solid friendships, it's worth at least talking about. Even if that conversation is going to be to the point of uncomfortability where we realize that we're just maybe better as associates. You never know until you actually open your mouth and have the conversations. Let's stop assuming some things and let's just hash it out. Let's talk it all out. Now, y'all, back in the day, back in my ratchet days, I used to watch some good old reality TV. And one of the things that they would do, now I'm not saying it always ended great, but those reality shows, they would meet up. Hey girl, so, what was that about last night? So, they would actually address what the issue was because we need to get to the bottom of, are we still cool? Are we still rocking? Now, sometimes, again, maybe they realized they weren't going to rock. And that's when they realized, some fights and things would occur. So, that's the ratchet part. Okay. But aside that, the foundational part is that they had to have those conversations, those tough conversations, those real conversations and raw that needed to iron out what was really going on. Did I take it too far? Did you take it too far? Did you misunderstand what I was doing or saying? So again, we have to be mindful that we can't just think about self. When we're having these conversations, when we're realizing that we did some things that were probably pretty messed up, we have to take ownership and in some cases apologize. So what my position is going to be when I, get with my girls and really get this ironed out is what went wrong? What is it that you guys feel? Because there's only so much that I can probably reflect on and think that I maybe, was the cause of this. But they may have other things. Maybe there was other incidents that I didn't even recall that, girl, you don't remember when we tried to hang out and you did this? Or you don't remember when we did finally hang out and you still chose to go in the bathroom and talk to him anyways? Like when we were supposed to go and get drinks? So I have to be open and have an open heart and ear to what it is that they're going to say. And like I said, there's going to be some that's going to warrant an apology, and there's going to be some that just warrant maybe an explanation. And we're going to be seeing if we can have a grown conversation to be able to address it, and let's move on. So I think, beauties and gents, when it comes to these friendships, again, some of them may be for a season, but some of them are for life. So if they're really to the point where they're like your sister, they're like your brother, don't we do that with our siblings? I mean, because at the end of the day, they blood. When it comes to our actual siblings, like relatives, we don't just let them go like that. We see if we can come to a resolution. We see if we can be able to hug it out, and let's move on. So some people are not just worth just, dismissing at the drop of a hat. It actually is worth the effort. And if you really love them the way that you say that you do, why not try? And again, you can only extend the olive branch but so far. They also have to be able to be willing to extend that reach as well. So again, if I try to reach out, to my girlfriends and they decide that they don't want anything to do with me, I have done all that I can do. At the end of the day, I will put it into prayer. And then from there, God has it. And what's meant to be will be. The reason why I say this is because there was, and I don't think I've ever been too open about my childhood with y'all, and eventually we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. But my childhood wasn't probably the best or ideal. So what ended up happening is over time, I had to again have these type of self evaluations, and I decided to forgive my mom. But my brother was not as maybe forgiving. And so for a time period there was no communication with him and my mother for quite some time. But when I tell y'all that the power of prayer can really change things, because what's meant to be will be, before I knew it, and I knew it was nothing but God, that they were able to, there was a circumstance where they were able to come together. It was an incident where he really did need his mom and she really did need her son. And before I knew it, they were able to reconcile. They were able to start, using those steps to be able to get the healing and the growth of their relationship. So the same situation can happen with your friends. Again, the right friends, it's going to work out. And if not, then you can appreciate what you guys had in that season, and then, you have to move on at some point. But for me, definitely life lessons when it comes to your friends. And again, we gain some along the way. We sometimes lose some along the way. But we still continue to move forward in our life and realize that God got this. So at the end of the day, I had to realize that, does it hurt? Absolutely. And this was the reason why this was such a sensitive topic that I didn't know if I was ready to talk about it. I didn't know if I was ready to address it, because depending on the girlfriends that watch this episode, they're gonna know who they are, and they're also gonna know that it's coming. The reunion is coming where we are going to talk this out as grown women, and we're gonna figure this out. So, again, you guys, I'm just hoping and praying that for you as well, this is something where you could be able to maybe reach out to a family member, maybe reach out to someone that you once had maybe a good, relationship and communication with. And again, if it's worth saving, I say it's worth doing. So, I hope that was, I hope that was something that could be able to be beneficial for you guys. I wasn't going to talk long. I know that sometimes I could be long winded and all of that, but this was just something where I want you guys to be able to, let's all learn, let's all grow. Like I said, as a person that takes accountability, whether it was when my marriage ended, I had to realize what changes I needed to do within myself to become better. And then now I'm realizing, even with friendships, even my children, I had to realize there was a point in time where I was doing a little bit less quality time with them and also spending more time with my man. And I'm like, yo, something's got to change. I got to create that balance. Hey, y'all, I know you're enjoying the episode of Beaut Tea Told. We're going to get right back to it. But first, I have a question for you. Have you been struggling in your relationship or maybe lack thereof and just need someone you can trust to talk to? Or maybe you find yourself back in them tired, played out games and wonder, how in the world did I get here? Well, guess what? You now can book a session with me at beautytold.com and let's talk about it. Let's heal, let's grow, let's build so that way you can become your better self and that way you can attract what you are desiring and get the relationship that you so deserve. Oh, and don't forget to get your merch such as hoodies as well as mugs. Let's sip, let's talk, and let's make that positive change. We're going to become our best self and I'm going to help you to get there. So again, I have so many to choose from as far as varieties that's best suited for you. Grab the relationship coaching that's going to be that game changer for you. And I can't wait to see you there. What are you waiting for? So that's why if y'all check, my Instagrams and stuff like that, you'll see that I have dates with my sons because I want them to have those memories. I want them to have, that quality time with mom. And I want our bond to continue to be strong. You know what I mean? So that way when mama is old and gray and can't do for herself, they better be there for me. That's all I'm gonna say. And the same thing goes with my friendships as well. I'm gonna make sure that I'm always gonna ride 10 toes down for you. I still have friends that once I realized that I needed to make those changes, that I started to be more intentional about spending time. So there has been times, honey, I've been tired. When I say tired, like barely keeping my eyes open tired. But if my girlfriend reaches out to me and says, hey, I need to talk, I've been having a rough day, then I'm gonna drink some coffee and I'm gonna go meet with her and I'm gonna be there for her because I realize that those relationships, they're important to the point where I don't want to lose that person or I don't want them to feel as though I don't have their back. So sometimes you make the sacrifices for the ones of whom you love. So again, and sometimes when you realize you've made some mistakes, you make the adjustments so that way you don't continue with that same pattern. So I really hope that y'all have learned something again, short, sweet, and to the point. So I had to make sure that y'all know. And oh yeah, I gave y'all quite a bit of tea, but I do want to make sure that y'all know that I like to sip a little wine every once and again. So shout out to my girl Nakia Hudson with 2U Wines. One of my favorites actually is this one. So the Sound of Seduction is what she named it. But honey, I just like give me that sangria. Give me that good good. And this is what it is. So when I tell y'all every sip will have you together and at up to 14% alcohol, you're gonna have yourself a good time. So again, 2U Wines, y'all. Y'all will see me sipping on that. And shout out to my girl once again. Make sure y'all visit the winery. It is fabulous. She just celebrated her 1 year anniversary. So I'm so happy for her. Shout out to her. And y'all should know her because she's also part of the pull up experience team, which I'm a part of. So I done told y'all once, I done told y'all twice, and now I'm telling you 3 times. Make sure y'all tap in with all of our episodes. We are interviewing dope entrepreneurs in the city of Cleveland who are doing such wonderful things for our city. And shoot, some of their aspects of the world, okay? Because these businesses are taking over. And I want you guys to make sure that y'all see that we shine that light on them. All right, y'all. Woo! Without further ado, I feel like I need to sip a little tea after that because I'm a little parched. Mm. And shout out to Bree, Overflow Studios, who always get me together. Steve. All right, y'all. Here is the scenario. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 6 years, and honestly, I don't know if we're still together or just attached to the history we built. We barely communicate unless it's about bills, responsibilities, or routine things. There's no affection anymore, no excitement, no real effort to connect. But every time I think about leaving, I convince myself that all relationships go through patches. My friends keep telling me the relationship is over, but I keep defending it because technically we haven't broken up. We still live together. We still say I love you sometimes. We still post pictures occasionally to make things look normal. But deep down, I feel lonely, and even when they're sitting right next to me. What scares me most is wondering if I'm holding on to the relationship because I genuinely love him or because I'm afraid to start over and accept the version of us I keep fighting no longer exists. Am I being loyal or just in denial that the relationship is already over? Whew. All right, should have warned y'all. It's a little lengthy, but shout out to the beauty that sent this. I mean, I can definitely say that I can relate. I have been there before. And I do believe that anything worth having is worth fighting for. So I do believe that there is still a chance where you could be able to still save the relationship, but it is going to take two people. It cannot be just you fighting because again, that was something that I dealt with for quite some time is that you can continue to fight all day long, but if that person is not willing to put in the effort or even an ounce of effort, you're really just spinning your wheels at that point. So what I would suggest is definitely seeing maybe seeking some counseling to be able to really have those conversations. Maybe it just takes somebody to be that neutral party to get, maybe to get him to open up, to get you to open up so that way he can understand what you're expressing and so you can understand and hear what he's expressing because maybe there have been times he's tried to maybe um, explain it, but maybe it hasn't been conveyed in the way that you can be able to receive it. So I definitely feel like a conversation and communication is needed to be had. And there is circumstances where, you can fall out of love as well. But this will be a way that we can figure out is that what this is? Or is this something that we can be able to save? So again, I won't say that you give up. I don't say that it's completely over, but I do say that if that person is not willing to put any type of fight into it, to really fight as hard as you're trying to rekindle what was once had, then it does make it very much difficult to be able to move forward in a loving and healthier way. So that would be my recommendation, girl, is that you and him need to really seek that help. And again, if he really wants that relationship, he's going to be willing to do it. If not, this is where you might have to, really think about and consider what life may be without that person. Because at one point in time in my life, when I really had to just come to an understanding, and again, this was with having God in my corner. This was with having a small circle. So I actually had like small group where we were actually all fighting for our marriages so we can be able to uplift each other and keep each other accountable. Like, girl, keep going, keep pushing, you're gonna break through at some point. But there's also times where God will give you confirmation, and God's confirmation overrides anything and everything that anyone could say. So when it finally came to 18 months of fighting for my relationship, and I'm not by no means saying you got to fight 18 months, girl, but that was my assignment. So I learned to understand that God had to really transition me and transform me in that year and a half so that way I could be able to start the healing process in a more positive way, in a less painful way, because honey, I went through it the first probably 6 months. It was rough. But eventually I can promise you, if nothing else, that if this relationship, let's say if it were not to work out, that there can become better on the other side of it. But you have to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all his ways acknowledge him. He will direct that path. And before you know it, he will bring the right person to you. And again, I am a clear example of that. God can definitely give you a person that you are meant to be with that will show you a healthier, better relationship and love. So a year and a half later, y'all, and I am smiling, I'm glowing, and having all the things. So it can happen. But again, it wouldn't have happened had I not went through what I went through. So I hope that helps. And shout out to all of my gosh, I think I had somebody DM me just saying that she really loves my, podcast. It really is helping her through some things. So again, you never know how it's impacting someone. So I shout out to all of those who are supporting me and Beaut Tea Told, those who it's touching in some way, shape, or form. I just want you to know that you are loved. I love each and every one of y'all. I appreciate any comment, any share, any like, any view, anything that you could do. I'm appreciative of it. And I want y'all to keep that, still brewing as I'm working on my faith journal. It's almost done, y'all. Still planning on having that pre-launch before spring ends. And by summertime, I want to have it in your hands. So know that that's coming. I ain't gave up. It's still very much on the way. This has been a project that took way longer than it should have. I might even do an episode on what not to do when you're trying to launch your first product because I think I did all the things all wrong. But overall, with God and the supportive team that I have, I am pushing through every obstacle you could think of, every hurdle. Every time that I want to give up, there is somebody telling me that you can keep going. So, again, have the right people in your corner. I'm telling you, it's a game changer in life. So, again, I love you guys so much. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode and many, many more. Again, this is episode 84. So, if you haven't, make sure you check out all of my other episodes. And until next time, let's make a change.